of news, which mainly are the BBC Sport Rugby League page, the totalrl.com website, and loverugbyleague.com. They provide the stories for us to basically copy, paste, and comment on. And thanks for you guys for your comments. Make sure you look out for any links to the Google form for the news views over the next week to get your views in for us to talk about on the next week of news. Right, let's do our Super League match review, Sarah.
Yep, sounds like a good place to go next.
Time for the Super League match reviews, and of course it was Super League Round 2, or the Mose Masoe round, which started this week on Thursday. Thursday that felt like a Friday, so I keep having to check myself mentally to say it was as far away ago as Thursday. But the first game of the round, and why don't I start on this one as it was my team? It was Wigan versus Wakefield. It was 6-all at half time, but Wigan were dominant in the second half, winning 34 points to 6. Scott Michalauskas was the referee. In terms of the stats, the team stats support the scoreboard, with Wigan making over 250 more metres at nearly 1 metre per carry better average gain, with 9 breaks to 1. Despite 2 more errors, the numbers show Wigan were the better side with and without the ball, and made that count. Individually, Jake Bibby, hat-trick, first of his professional career, 3 tries, 173 metres and 4 clean breaks for Super League's top try scorer. Liam Farrell with a try assist, 8 tackle busts, 184 metres and 2 clean breaks. Although I saw some stats the Wigan website put out, the Wigan club put out, saying he made over 200 metres, so, you know, whatever. The man can do anything. Zach Hardacre, 1 try assist, 8 tackle busts, 164 metres, and Sam Powell, 1 try assist, 49 tackles, 12 of which were marker tackles. For the Wakefield side, Kalepi Tangano with 116 metres, Riesling with 110 metres, Jay Pitts with 42 tackles, and David Fafita with 1 try, 9 tackle busts and 4 successful offloads. Nothing out of the disciplinary on this one. We maybe will chat about that as we go. Let's get into the fan views though, Sarah. Do you want to give us the first one?
Yeah, so Jen K said, Wigan looks so much better this week. Result was never in doubt for me, even though we took a while to get going. Bibby was the hat-trick hero, but Zach was my man of the match after a pretty flawless performance. I can only imagine how excited Mark was about Farrell's stint at centre. No
more or less excited than I am every time he steps on the field, Jen. Matt Speakman 20 said, great second half performance. Zach Hardacre and John Bateman remain incredible rugby players. Farrell and Hastings also brilliant. Bibby was with the hat trick for the win. All round a very pleasing win. Looking forward to getting some of our outside backs back in. Will be dangerous. Yeah, don't get too excited, Matt. Apparently most of the missing group are at least 2 more weeks away.
Yeah, Joshua, also known as Macca, said a good first half, but Wakey couldn't have. I can't even speak. Wakey couldn't capitalise on all the field position. Also, Tom Johnson failing his HIA really put them down. Wigan scored 2 and then ran away with it.
Joshua's granddad said the norm first half pies given a try that never was. An Isa swinging headshot takes out Danger Man with no sanction. Second half, a Zach inspired performance saw a comfortable romp. Yeah, I had questions over that first try myself. I don't think I saw it get on the ground at any point.
No.
So I think Partington probably didn't lose control of it, because when it came away from his wrist on his lower hand, I think which is his left hand, his right hand had come over the top and kind of got to the ball, so I think he kind of always had the ball, but I didn't see it hit the ground at any point. I mean, whichever way that went up, it was coming down, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And then the ISA, I mean, there was no sanction from the disciplinary, as well as no sanction in the game, and I thought it should have been a penalty because it was head contact, but it felt totally accidental to me. And by the way, Tom Johnson had done fuck all in that game to that point, because he was a disaster on the dream team scoring for the half an hour that he did play. So I'm not sure if he was going to do much.
But the point there is that.
No, I'm annoyed, Sarah, because I put him in my team.
Still the danger, man. Just because you're comparing it to the rest of Wakefield's team.
No, what I'm comparing it to is the fact that I'd put him into my dream team.
No,
and he scored me no points.
He doesn't have to be great,
No, but he could have made some meters in that half an hour, and he made none.
It all went on the centre, didn't it?
Yeah, and also they just got a lot of good field position, I think, so they didn't need much exit.
Yeah, they didn't need to run from distance, did they?
But yeah, to me it was completely accidental. He went in for a tackle on a man as he landed, and Johnston was kind of falling into Isa as he was going in to tackle him, and the head contact was incidental rather than any sort of criminal, violent offence that everyone wants to say it is because it's a Wigan player. But I mean, it was a penalty. It should have been a penalty. I'd totally say that it should have been a penalty. And the bigger outcome of that was probably that because it wasn't a penalty, they lost the interchange, didn't they? When he couldn't come back on, which I don't, wouldn't have made any jot of difference to the end result. But that's something that maybe needs thinking about.
That's the real frustrating thing, you'd think, as the coach or a fan of that team.
Yeah. I mean,
especially when it's a winger that you're having to substitute off, that's never in your game plan. It's not like a prop forward who you say, well, okay, we've now moved it 10 minutes earlier.
Yeah, but we didn't even have any wingers to start with. And I tell you who managed to cope quite well with losing their wingers. Toulouse, they ended up with Joe Breverton on the wing flying in for scores.
Yeah.
No, but I'm making light of it. You're totally right. It was a big shift for Wakefield to have to make, and it was wrong. I do think it's wrong that they didn't get to keep their substitution.
It's a really hard one, isn't it? I get the reason that they've got the rule is to stop teams saying actually he's having a shocker. Oh dear, he's got a bad head. Let's take him off. They have to have the rules in place for a reason, but on the other hand, it's then subject to the referee deeming something a penalty.
Yeah, and that's maybe where, as the game goes along, the video ref could review and maybe say, because on the match review panel they've said it was worthy of an on-field penalty, and I think we could all see that there was head contact. When the arm came around, the sort of in the wrapping motion. So, maybe that's something that could be brought in that the video ref could assist with. That'll take away that sort of cheating potential, but still retain kind of the idea of the thing, which is to not punish a team when something happens because of foul play, accidental or otherwise.
Yeah.
Alan Walker's next, isn't he?
He is. Cherry and whites or raspberry and ribena. Fire away, strawberries, cherries, and an angel kiss in the spring. My summer wine is really made from all these things. Long season ahead for Trinity.
What does that mean?
Well, I was hoping that you'd be able to explain that to me.
Strawberries, cherries, and an angel's kiss in spring.
I'm with him as far as cherry and white. I'm there.
Yeah, no, I understand there's a lot of black going on in the cherry and white kit this year for sure. No disputes there from me on that.
Being a different colour to the other.
Sorry?
One leg of the shorts a different colour to the other. What's that about?
I think they were last year as well, because we had the sort of replicated the kit design on the shorts but in reverse. So
on the subject their kit, this was where Joshua announced to me that if you could take away the fact it was Wigan shirt, so get rid of the badges, get rid of the sponsors, it's quite a nice shirt and he'd wear it.
Well, I think that's where the designs come from, kind of the youth appeal of the design, maybe. I don't think it's sold badly, even though it's very, very non-traditional. It's not the worst one we've had in recent times for non-traditional wise. I hated that pink and red one from 2011. So, well. Which if you could take all the badges off, which Super League shirt from this year would you wear?
Oh, that's a tricky one. I feel like I only really pay attention to what the shirts look like when Joshua's next to me going, that's a nice shirt, isn't it? I do agree. I quite like the patterning on the Wigan one.
I quite don't mind, but only for like wearing when I need to sort of exercise when it's kind of dusk and you're kind of in between the day and night. That Warrington one.
What, the Loomis?
Yeah, that'd be a good one to go running in, I think.
So you don't get run over.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to, look into it and let you know next week.
Good stuff. Well, everyone else, send us in your views of which kit you would buy if it didn't have the other team's badge on it. White Pie we finish with. Another game of two halves from Wigan, but in the end, quality in the centres made the difference. And he put a laughy face. Which is totally justified on that one. Wigan were under the cosh for most of the first half, but the defence was 100 times better than last week. Wigan maintained their second half team tag and blew Wakey away up front and in defence. Despite the claims of Chris Chester, the shot from ice that saw Tom Johnson leave was accidental and not the vicious assault Twitter believed. So yeah, I mean, pretty similar to what the other Wigan fans who've commented have said is kind of where I'm coming from in this one. With we're talking about two halves and that sort of stuff. Wigan's attack was clunky in the first half, and it showed a little bit to me why Hardacre maybe isn't the best option we have at the club at full back, and that would still be a Bevan French when he's able to play again. And for Wigan, I still think with everyone fit, Hardacre is our second best centre rather than our first best fullback. But in this game, Bibby and Hardacre were definitely the standouts for Wigan, although a nice mention to Willie Isa and Lee White Pie there touched on it. It was his 150th game for Wigan, and he showed centre skills that I think he seemed to lack even back when he was a regular centre back in his cast days, with those tip-on passes to Jake Bibby for his first two tries. Bibby pulling out his inner Makinson at Makinson's home ground as well with his finishing. One thing I would say from a kind of Wakefield perspective, I don't know if you're with me on this one, but I thought Mason Lino looked a totally different player to the one who played in week one. Like where he had looked composed and a good foil for Jacob Miller, here he looked isolated, he looked hesitant, he looked scared.
Yeah.
I think Wigan worked him over for sure. The stats show that he made over 30 tackles, so I think that set him back, definitely. But he looked worried, both with and without the ball, during this game. He didn't look like the player who played against Leeds. Well,
no, in my review last week, I said I thought that, he looked like a decent player and I was interested to see how he went. Well, it answered my question not very well.
Yeah, I sort of think Wigan have set the kind of line on him here for what other teams need to do. So now Wakefield and Chester and Lino himself need to think of a way of countering that. Maybe it was just because Wigan had two second rowers on, in the centre and second row there, or two forwards in the sort of second row and centre positions. That kind of not great for him, and up against Jackson Hastings, who directly opposite him, who's a far superior player, obviously. There's maybe that was part of it, and maybe when he's against more average opposition, like when he plays someone like Leeds again, it might be different. But yeah, I did want to mention that. And also, from a Wigan perspective, younger Myler Hanley, he showed progress to me, way fewer mistakes than against Lee, much more involvement in exit set carries. I think probably for the poor lad, he just had too much time to think about his scoring chance, and that time that he spent on it, he just got it wrong. If he'd have had a Wakefield defender coming across, I think he would have made a sharper, more instant decision, but I think that because they had time to think about it.
How am I going to score